Let's welcome in Republican Congressman from Indiana and member of the House Budget Committee, Marlin Stutzman. Congressman, it's great to see you. I listen to Chuck Schumer. He's like, we have to unmask federal agents. What's next? No more undercover cops? I mean, are his family members being doxxed? These guys are trying to protect themselves and the lives of their family members. Your thoughts on these demands that Democrats are making?
Yeah, well, Rick, great to be with you. Thanks for having me again. But you're exactly right. Bernie Moreno from Ohio was mentioning that, ultimately the Democrats, they just simply want to protect all of those who are illegal in this country, whether they're criminals or not. And President Trump and the Trump administration and the Department of Homeland Security have been doing what he said he would do when he campaigned to the American people before last election and said that he's going to make sure that the border's secure and that those who are in this country illegally, that are criminals, that are rapists, killers, druggists, whatever they are, they're the type that we're going to ship out of the country. And President Trump in the administration are doing what he said. Now, one of the things that's the problem is in Minnesota is that, of course, they want to step in between the federal government doing their job, whether it's Governor Walz and his police, state police or the local police. They've been told not to even support Homeland Security, which I just think is shameful, because ultimately we want to make sure that the American people are safe.
Of course. Now, this deal, and again, this is breaking in the last hour or so, this deal would apparently allow the separation of the DHS funding from the spending package. Is this better than holding most of the government hostage? And what will that mean moving down the road?
Well, I think it is. And I think, again, it shows you the difference between Republicans and Democrats. The Democrats would be willing to shut down the government over illegals, criminal illegals in this country. And Republicans, and especially President Trump, is showing that, it is important that we keep the rest of government open and operating, and that, he's already made some changes with DHS in Minnesota. It's very unfortunate events. Of course, we could point to the fact that these agitators just shouldn't be there to begin with. I mean, whether if you're ever pulled over by a policeman, you just simply, sit in your car and you make sure that you don't do anything that would give the police officer a reason to do something and put you in handcuffs. So, the reason that these guys are there is simply political, and they could always handle these situations in the courts. But again, Democrats want to defend criminals, Republicans, and again, President Trump is saying, look, let's keep the government open. We'll figure this out moving forward to make sure that we do a better job.
Yeah, Congressman, I couldn't agree more. I talk about it every night because it drives me nuts watching the video of these agitators putting themselves in harm's way, putting themselves between federal agents doing their jobs. And it's not where they belong. They should stay in their lane and stay out of the way and nobody gets hurt. And I don't know why Democrats can't understand that very, very basic common sense. Instead, they're rallying around anti-ICE sentiment, and they all appear to be in lockstep with each other. I want you to listen to this clip.
So are we going to enforce federal immigration law? No, we don't now. We haven't for decades. And a big part of that is I want our police officers spending their limited amount of time actually producing safety for the city.
But we also realize that this puts our democracy at risk. It's a force of thuggery.
I want to be clear that that's what we're seeing is an authoritarian takeover of our government. ICE, Border Patrol, the National Guard, which Trump has tried to deploy to many cities, all of this is being used to quash the rights of all of us.
Those lawmakers were silent when Barack Obama was deporting 5 million illegals, and Tom Homan got a medal for doing it. The DHS is targeting illegal immigrants. ICE and Border Patrol are not stomping on the rights of American citizens. They're enforcing U.S. law. Why are Democrats spreading misinformation, and how damaging and dangerous is that?
Oh, it's very dangerous. Our democracy is at risk. Are you serious? I mean, authoritarian government, well, that's what's happening out on the streets, is the authoritarians are the ones that are running the streets because they're criminals. That's what, just like Maduro, he's an authoritarian. He's a criminal. And that's what the Democrat Party continues to defend. And I'll tell you what, come the midterm elections, I hope the American people truly realize the difference between the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. They would rather have the criminals in charge out on the streets rather than having law enforcement and making sure our police, our Homeland Security agents doing the job that they were all told to do and asked to do and putting their lives at risk. But when these people go out and put our own law enforcement lives at risk, that's a real problem, and I would never stand for it. I know President Trump won't either.
Congressman Marlin Stutzman, we really appreciate your time. I know you got a lot of work ahead on that budget, so good luck with that, and thanks for joining the show.